What's up, beautiful people? Listen, Daruma, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be checking this video, and it's titled People Live in Bushes and Bus Stops, Dark Side of Britain's Seaside Holiday Paradise. Okay, interesting. I'm excited to check this one out to hear what they've got to say. Let's check it out.
You've got people in vans living in lay-bys. You've got people living in community parks and fields, like in sort of caravans, horsebox lorries, old delivery vans. There's people living in bus stops. There's people living in like bushes. I've seen somebody living actually in a tent on a roundabout.
This is my home. This is where I live. I love it. It doesn't look good. You know, a disabled man on the streets with just one leg. Not long ago I had it off. You know, on the streets, mate. If I got another infection or anything now, kill me.
People that used to be in the war and they're all on the streets, and it's just like, how do they even comprehend to do that? Why would they, someone that's fought for our country, why would you put them on the street?
No disrespect to some of the people you see, but often they're heavily drinking or using or whatever, you know what I mean? And sometimes, in a sense, I guess it's horrible to say, but I'd say, oh, I don't feel bad so much about those people.
Cornwall, the southernmost point of the UK. Next stop, Europe to the south and America to the west. The sprawling county is world famous for its stunning beaches, cream teas and the humble Cornish pasty. But for those living here, it's a different story.
You've got the views, you've got the cliff, but you don't see what's happening behind. No one sees it because they try and hide it. But it's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Rural homelessness has increased by 40% in the last 5 years, and the southwest is the worst affected region of England. For Cornwall, a lack of housing, high rents and a wave of second homes for tourists has created a perfect storm, driving this picturesque paradise to the brink of emergency.
As the saying goes, everyone's 2 paychecks away from being on the street, you know?
This is real Britannia.
Newquay, Cornwall, England.
We're in Newquay, one of Cornwall's biggest towns on the county's north coast. It's in the middle of the Easter break, and the seaside resort is full of holidaymakers. Yet while the tourists soak up their surroundings, some locals here aren't surfing waves, but sofas. To get a sense of the situation here, when we searched for rental properties on Rightmove, we got just 20 results in Newquay. Change this to holiday lettings though, and this number is closer to 4,000. Demand in Cornwall far outweighs supply, leaving some to fall through the cracks in the system. That morning, we meet Julie, not her real name, who just that week had been left with no other option than to sleep on the streets, with nothing but a suitcase and her mother's ashes.
Wow.
Basically, I've just left, or I had to flee, a domestic violent relationship when I was with my partner for a year, living over in St Austell, and he's gone to prison, and I haven't been housed, so I'm now basically on the street. He's on remand in Exeter prison at the minute. Yeah, and so he could come home and tag, so I've had to leave the property that we both lived in. It's absolutely shocking down here. The system's failed, it fails everybody. They fail everyone. People should not be going through this at the minute. But the services are absolutely shocking. It does make me really angry. It's not my fault. It was so cold last night. So cold, and I don't know where I'm going to be. It's all right to ring the council, but they take an hour to get 2 of them, to get hold of anyone.
What's your message to the council?
Sort their f***ing acts out. It's not f***ing fair. There's no support for anyone. There's no support. It's not fair. It doesn't matter just a domestic relationship. It's not just that. It's in general. It's in general. It's not fair. Cornwall looks beautiful. No, it's not. It's a place. A very place. You can't, and when you have got a place, you can't even afford it because the rent's so high. It's shocking. Shocking. And I'm sat here on a bench with a suitcase and my mum's ashes.
And Julie's situation had got all too much for her friend, who's been trying to help. We're calling him Tony.
On the street, someone beating her up.
And I'm trying my hardest, right? I'm trying my hardest, right?
Official estimates suggest there are dozens of people sleeping rough every night in Cornwall. There's a huge increase here in the summer months too, as people from other parts of the country flock to the warmer coastal climates. And you don't have to look far for the evidence that some leave behind. Locals telling us some of these tents have been deserted since last summer. It's a visible and sobering reminder of the situation that thousands of people find themselves in every night in the UK. But for Cornwall, rough sleeping is only the tip of the iceberg.
Many people think of homelessness as just those people who are out living on the streets, but it's a far wider issue in Cornwall, with over 800 families living in temporary accommodation, such as this hotel in Newquay.
The Sandy Lodge Hotel is just one of a number of locations where the council is spending up to £10 million a year housing people in temporary accommodation. And the brand new townhouses being built next door are a far cry from the reality facing those inside the hotel. Tracy's been living in this tiny room for...
Before we go on, I just want to say something that regardless, people are going through a lot. Lots of people are going through something, and people just need to be kind towards one another. Yeah, lots of these people might have been a result of one activity or the other, but not everybody was as a result of the activity. Some people also made some poor choices and all of that resulted to them being homeless. But at the same time, lots of people should be kind to people, because people don't even know what others are going through. We understand that, yeah, everybody is going through it, but at least people should be kind. Because how do they sleep here with a storm when it rains at night? Oh my God. Yo, it's scary. Let's go on.
Been living in this tiny room for 2 months already, and while she's thankful to now be off the streets, life within these 4 walls is far from easy.
I mean, the hotel's called lovely, staff's lovely, but it's not ideal, is it? I got basically a 1-bedroom flat. I've had to leave all my belongings. Everything I've bought, brand new, is gone. I am looking for property every day, but they want stupid money, like £900 a month.
900?
And the council will only give you, even if you get like £1,000 a month yourself, they'll say no, we can't do that much. You can look for 500. And I'm like, well, you can't get a flat for £500. You cannot get a flat. There's just no affordable houses at all. None. I mean, a room is like £700 a month. If you go to a horrible area like St Austell, it used to be nice. They used to be nice places, but I don't know what's happened. Newquay's the same. It's like, you can go further afield and it's cheaper. But I'm just rock bottom from it all, you know, it's just never ending.
To anybody watching this who walks past homeless people and says horrible things about homeless people, what would you say to them?
Don't judge. Just don't judge. Don't judge.
Tracy's story is sadly all too common, but help is on hand from the local community, right here in the hotel.
Wow.
Watch your backs, please. Coming through.
Monique Collins, along with an army of volunteers and her dog Millie, is on a mission to change Cornwall's fortunes. She runs the local charity Disc, part housing support, part food bank, part kids club, but always a warm welcome.
I would say that the homelessness across the country is horrific. However, in Cornwall, it's higher than what the eye actually sees. We have thousands of families that are sat in hotel rooms on campsites because there is no affordable homes out there. They're building some, but it's just not enough, and there's not enough houses to go around. There's a lot of people that fall outside of the criteria, so they're told to just go and get a sleeping bag and a tent, which I find inhumane. We've got over 3,000 people on our books at the moment, so that sums it up.
And Monique has little time for anyone who points the finger at immigration or the benefits system as the cause of the problems.
we haven't got that many migrants. We have hardly any, I would say, here in Cornwall. So you can't blame it all on people that are coming in from outside. We have got a massive underbelly here of poverty. What people see when they come here is they see sun, sea, beaches, and yes, we've got all that, and it is beautiful, and I'm not going to deny that it's beautiful, because it is beautiful. However, what people don't see is the struggle that goes on people that are living on minimum wage and they just can't make ends meet.
So how did such a...
Absolutely true. Like when we see all of this on TV and mainstream media portray the life of most of the people in the West, they don't show us the real struggles or the everyday struggles of these people. They show us the cute stuff and everything, and so when people visit or people go, they go with this idea that it is all glitz and glams, it's beautiful, without knowing that there are struggles everywhere, every goddamn way. But they want to portray a certain place that, oh, this place is suffering more than the others, when in real sense, poverty is almost every part in the world. And seeing this just makes me like, yo, we don't know none of this. We don't even know about this. I mean, this is my first time coming about this place, the name UK or Cornwall, honestly. And it exists because there are people that can barely survive, let alone they have families. It's not even making sense. Like, how? I want to know what the government is doing to help these people, because I mean, or help people, because yeah, we can, for all we say, what we say, some people will say made some unhealthy choices, or some people, they had other habits or whatnot and all. But I mean, there are some people that were just kicked out of the corps and just couldn't keep up with the everyday life because they can't even afford it. Yo, this is... But it's a good thing that we're getting to see this or getting to learn about this and creating some awareness to this, because I mean, we don't know none of this, honestly. And we don't even know that this kind of place or this place does exist, but now we do. Let's go on.
So how did such a desirable and beautiful location find itself in this crisis? Therein lies some of the problem. As a hotspot for UK tourism, Cornwall has more second homes than anywhere else in Britain, at over 13,000. 13? While that brings in vital revenue from tourism, at the same time, there's over 27,000 people currently on the social housing waiting list. And while property prices have slumped since their pandemic boom, when people flocked here from urban areas, they're still up a third on 2019 levels. Average house prices were almost £340,000 in the last year, around 10 times the average salary for Cornish residents.
What? It is absolutely torrential trying to get a property in Cornwall. Even if there is a property, the pricing of rent is extortionate, and it's nowhere near what you could cover on benefits then if you're unfortunately on benefits. And yeah, no, it's horrendous.
I mean, the homelessness here is, I mean, I grew up here and I've never ever seen it this bad, ever.
It's very difficult for people on low wages, which is what this town is built on. It's built on tourism and the fishing industry, which is not well paid. They can't afford to buy houses.
I've lived here since I was 15 and I rent the same room in a shared house. Despite having a full career in the military and now training as a paramedic, I won't be able to afford a house. So yeah, I'm probably going to be in a house share for the foreseeable.
What?
All of this mounts up to a reality which can leave local people all out of options. So we travelled across the county to Ruan Minor, near Cornwall's southern tip, to meet one man who's taken the housing crisis into his own hands.
So this is our ex-school bus. It's a Alexander ALX 400. Put a front door in it.
Oh.
This is our bedroom.
Wow.
TV, heating comes through underneath the floor.
Underneath?
So yeah, this is what we live in. These are our buses.
Along with his 5 children, partner Emma and sister Hannah, who has cerebral palsy, Anthony Taylor has found himself blocked at every turn.
He's got 5 kids? Huh? do they survive? Five kids. Him, his wife, and his sister. 8. Wow. This is real. Let's go on.
Blocked at every turn. The family didn't qualify for social housing, but were unable to find a suitable rental for Hannah's complex needs. He offered Cornwall Council an unusual solution, but after months of hell stuck in planning, he claims he was left with no other option than to renovate 2 buses for him and the whole family.
Oh my god.
So I applied to the council to build an affordable led disability house for me, myself, my family and Hannah. We sort of offered the council 4 plots, 62% of the land, and they've said no to it based on the grounds that we're not from Red Roof, which is locally, it's only 10 miles away from the next town where I've lived for 25 years. We've given them 2 options, sort of we'll build, we'll continue to look after Hannah. And that's not a good enough option for them, even though we weren't being greedy, we were offering up land as well so that other families in Cornwall have got a chance. And now we've got to a position where we've moved into these buses purely because we couldn't find anywhere to rent. There's nowhere to rent in Cornwall that anyone can even afford. I mean, if you're earning a massive salary, it's still hard to rent and mortgage down here.
I mean, it is heartbreaking what you're having to go through. What sort of a toll does that have, not only on you, but on the rest of your family?
Yeah, emotionally it's quite, I want to spend time with my family and my kids and sort of look after my sister. I'm not even able to do that. I'm now in a position where I'm bankrupt, effectively. I've got sort of £2,000 left from an inheritance from my mum that was meant to provide me and my sister with some sort of stability going forward, and my family too. I've spent so much money desperately trying to build something to live in. It's cost me 40 grand to build 2 buses. I've had to wait 18 months for a planning decision, not 12 weeks. When you pay for a planning application, they say that they will get back to you within sort of 12 to 16 weeks. I'm 18 months down the line. I've had to pay another full year of rent that I wouldn't have had to have paid if somebody had put their thinking cap on and sort of looked at the pros of my application. So yeah, the council have effectively cost me sort of 60 grand.
60?
We've seen correspondence relating to Anthony's application, which appears to corroborate his version of events. So what about the council?
I don't know the individual case, but I can bet you there's 2 sides to that story. There'll be a lot of reasons why in that locality that it wasn't a suitable spot. It's often not quite as clear cut as you want it to be.
You've got a man offering the council land to build housing which will alleviate your problems, and you're saying there's a second side to the story. The guy's now completely bankrupt. If the council had got back in touch with him within 12 weeks, he wouldn't have then had to have rented a house. He then wouldn't have had to have spent all this money on the buses. He could have put that into building the houses.
I mean, as I said, I don't know that individual case. It could be that the housing or the land that he's got is not in a residential area. It could be in a rural area that's not classified as somewhere where that local community wants people to build. As I said, I'm happy to look into it, but I don't know the specifics of that particular case.
Ollie Monk is Cornwall's lead on housing and planning, and back in his own Newquay constituency, he was showing us one way the council says is dealing with the problem: pods to house the homeless.
Just tell us about what we've got in a solo house.
So the solo house are a modular unit that Cornwall Council has acquired to help with the homelessness problem that we have across Cornwall at the moment. So these are fully building regs compliant, full mortgageable, BOPAS regulated product, offering a single person decent accommodation for a period of time while they get themselves back on their feet and into more settled accommodation.
Wow.
We've got other sites in Penzance, in Penryn, Truro, and we've got a few more planned around the rest of Cornwall as well.
Do you think the council is doing a good enough job when it comes to housing and trying to stop people from becoming homeless?
I think we're doing it as good as we can with the resources that we've got. Building housing doesn't happen overnight. The roughly time taken from applying for planning permission to handing someone a key to move into a property, if nothing goes wrong, is 3 to 5 years. And what we've got to do is try and find ways to streamline that to make it a more successful outcome. We need developers to know that they've got confidence in being able to put a planning application in which delivers the right type of blend of housing and actually see that through the planning process, know it's going to be approved, and then finding the capacity and the builders locally to build those houses that we desperately need.
So is that why you've got to come up with emergency measures like this to put people into prefab cabins at the bottom of a car park because it takes so long to build a house?
It does not that it takes so long to build a house, it takes a long time to get the amount of houses up and running that you need to house the people that we've got right now.
Ollie seems genuinely passionate about changing Cornwall's futures, but knows pods like this are very much a temporary solution.
Exactly, these are temporary solutions. So my question is, hope these are safe, that people don't get attacked or robbed or something. How protected are these, or are they, if people were to live here? And storm, natural disaster and all. But I mean, it's a good fix to this. Lots of people don't even know or understand how real it is, because this right here, we're just seeing it. And this is real life. This is some people's real life, everyday experience, not having where to sleep or not having where to stay or live. But I hope this is fixed though. That's one.
And while this new site is impressive, what about those already in use?
Okay.
They want to put me in a pod in Truro. I won't go in a pod because I don't do drink or drugs. So I won't go in a pod. And she said, goodbye then. We can't help you.
Truro, Cornwall's only city, was the first pod site to open in 2021. And on first look, it's a far cry from the brand new facilities being built in Newquay.
Wow.
Yet one man who's lived in them says it's better than a life on the streets.
Better, yes.
They're all right. But yeah, they work. They work. For when you really need it, yeah.
Do you think it's better to have pods or to have bricks and mortar, like a proper house?
Well, pods are actually more, they're more realistic because they can be put up, can't they?
Based at the council's main offices, it's not just those in the pods who sleep here.
Hiya.
What are you up to then?
Hello, mate. How you doing? How you doing?
How's it going? Thanks.
Living on buses is more common than you might think in Cornwall.
Come in. See, it's not finished down here. This is the kitchen, and that's in here is the shower. That's like the bed there, see? And then under here, storage. This is my home. It's where I live. I love it.
And Chris, who's disabled and in a wheelchair, said that night he'd be sleeping rough right on the council's doorstep.
I'm up at the council's offices. Yeah, it's past Sainsbury's. And in a tent.
How do you live in a tent when you're in a chair? How is that easy?
That's something hard, no, it's not, everything's hard, man. You only have to go through town in daytime and you see all the homeless people on the streets. I'm one of them now. I was one of the people that used to walk past the people. I'd give them a cigarette or whatever, No, I am one of them. In the future, I will stop and help, you know what I mean? Because I've been there now. It's opened my eyes massively.
But do Chris's words ring true for people up and down the country? In the same week that we heard personal stories from those left without a home in Cornwall, discussions were taking place in Westminster around potentially criminalising homelessness, with fines or even prison sentences being considered for rough sleepers, causing what the government called a nuisance.
I think our government have got it very, very wrong, and I'm really quite upset that they're trying to sneak this through the back door, because there are no services for people that are drug or alcohol dependent, or very little for that matter, and there is no housing. So how can you make somebody being homeless illegal when there's nowhere for them to go? It's unacceptable.
People who are homeless, it's generally not because they want to be homeless and living on the streets, it's because they've got very, very complicated lives with complicated issues, and I think you're better off tackling those complicated lives and complicated issues and helping people back into mainstream society rather than penalising them. And I fail to see how criminalising homeless people in Cornwall makes any difference.
Far from agreeing with central government, everyone we spoke to said one thing lay at the heart of any solution for Cornwall and the UK: the need to build more affordable housing. It's even got the royal seal of approval as part of the Prince of Wales's pledge to end homelessness. He's hoping to see 24 new homes built for local homeless people right here in Newquay on the Nansledden estate, a housing project by the Duchy of Cornwall. Houses are actually being completed faster here than much of the country, but it's simply not enough. So why?
One of the big problems that we've got is how difficult it is to get things through planning. The planning process gives a lot of voice to local people, and I would say it gives too much voice to local people, because what you'll often find is that people that live in an area, be it a village or a town, who are adequately housed, don't want to see change.
Alistair Young runs Coastline Housing, a local charitable association which aims to end the housing crisis for good. They are about to complete work on 140 new homes, 80% of which will be classified as affordable.
The reasons why we're in the situation we're in now, it's taken 40 or 50 years for us to get to where we are now, and it'll probably take us that long to come out the other side. Fundamentally, it's a failing as a country to have a strategy for housing, to say, we know what's happening to the population, we know what's happening to the economy, that means we need this number of homes in these places, let's make sure we build them. We haven't done that. If we're going to fix the housing crisis in Cornwall, it needs us to have a plan, and organisations like ours working with Cornwall Council are doing our best around that. But housing is something that needs a national plan, so there needs to be a national strategy that sets out where we need to get to. And until we have that, we don't have realistically a chance of getting there. Organisations like ours will keep making things a bit better, but if it's taken us 40 or 50 years to get to where we are now, it needs something pretty big and pretty radical to take us forward in a positive direction.
Anyone looking for a quick solution here is likely to be kept waiting.
Exactly.
Where do you start with a problem like Cornwall? Whether it's a crackdown on second home ownership, speeding up building practices, better support for local people and those on the streets, it feels like meaningful change is still decades in the making, not just a few years.
There is multiple problems that need to be resolved, and I think it's going to be a long haul before we're going to see any change. If they start immediately, I would say 5 to 10 years, and that's being very optimistic.
I've lived in Cornwall for 25 years of my life. I'm only 30, I've lived here all my life, and it's never been this bad. The only reason it's got bad now is because during COVID, all of the houses were bought. Everyone bought Airbnb homes, second homes. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of empty homes down here that people don't live in for half the year.
It's not fair. It's the system's. I'm so drained, but I'm mentally drained.
I want to be happy. I want my own place. I'm trying, but yeah.
I think it only becomes hopeless if people give up and stop trying, and we're definitely not going to stop trying.
Yo, watching this broke my heart, because this is real life and people's real experience. Oh my god, these are the things that we don't get to see, especially lots of us from the outside, because we're shown the glamour, the beauty side, the beautiful side, that they all so it draws people to be like, oh yeah, they want to be part of this beauty, but they don't show you the other real life experience, or the real, like, what it looks like for some of the regular people or some part of England or UK. And this is just a portion size of a particular place, let alone other parts or other places where they have homelessness or homeless crisis, or like this situation like this. They're even saying 40 to 50 years. That means the solution is not even now. It's not making sense. Oh my goodness. I honestly feel really sad and really bad for people. Yeah, we understand that some people made some bad choices or bad that resulted to them being here, but you can even hear from some people who's lived in this place for 25 years and more than say that it's never been this bad or been like this. So what happened? What changed? Yeah, we understand the pandemic changed a lot of things or caused a lot of changes. But at this point, this is gone way, 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 way worse. It's not even... Oh my God. But this is interesting, getting to know this and to learn about this. Let me know what you think about this. Do you know about this situation in the UK, Cornwall, or you're just finding about this? Let me know what you think about this, and maybe there are other updates regarding this. I would love your contribution. You can share the useful information I think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.